Today we're reviewing Night of the Living Dead, a horror movie from 1968. It's available to stream on HBO Max and to rent on all the major streaming services, so go check it out and come back to this video because this is Screen Riot.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Screen Riot, the show where we let fate choose the random movies that we watch each week. And as Kyle said at the beginning, we're taking a look at George Romero's Night of the Living Dead from 1968. Two things I want to mention real quick. If you're watching this on YouTube, one, make sure you hit the like button below. That really helps us out, get our videos out to new people, and we get to interact with them and all that stuff. And number two, you don't have to adjust your coloring on your screen at all. I am severely sunburnt, so I look very red. But with that
vampire, I guess.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So with that out of the way, real quick about the movie, it's not rated because it actually came out almost exactly to the day, a month ahead before the MPAA rating board started doing the ratings, which is kind of interesting. But it has a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes, and it was directed by, famously George A. Romero. So Kyle, this movie was all yours, so
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what Night of the Living Dead is about?
So it's basically about a group of strangers that are hoarding in this house and trying to defend their lives from ghouls, which, and later in history is called zombies, because these are flesh-eating zombies, and they bite people and they turn people into zombies and blah blah blah. So we got ourselves the OG zombie movie here.
So this is something I wanted to mention. I'm glad you brought this up, the OG. Yeah. So I was under the impression this too until I started doing research about this. This isn't the OG original zombie movie. Apparently, there was a movie from 1932 called White Zombie, starring Bela Lugosi, and it's basically like a vampire thing.
Yeah,
it's not really like
that's
a zombie
Bella
thing. Yeah. So he basically turns this woman that he fancies into his, zombified, stupid lover, stupefied lover or whatever.
Not a vampire?
Not a vampire. So basically a out of her mind kind of zombified version of herself. And that's where the term zombie first came about. This movie, however, basically put it into the lexicon of what zombies are, and it defined the tropes that we have today, like flesh eating, turning other people into zombies, all that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So
they're shooting them in the head because in order to make them officially dead, you have to shoot their brains.
Yep.
Eat their brain and gain all their knowledge.
Yeah. And so Eddie,
I don't think it works that way.
Dang, Eddie, you came in here immediately saying you were ready to call this movie out. Well, I always like to go to you first because that always seems to spark some conversation here.
So here's the thing about this movie. Okay, credit where credit's due. It spawned a whole legion of other movies and other TV series, etc. that kind of take the exact same idea or something very similar and run with it. Right. So credit where credit's due. Good job on that. However, if we're just looking at this movie as a movie, it is a piece of dog shit. Like it's a student film that happened to become a cult classic. And just because it has cult classic status doesn't mean that it's a good movie. I mean, it's got jump cuts. It's got, the loudest fucking cricket track in history. Every 5 seconds, it's fucking crickets.
When it's nighttime.
What do they think we're imagining all this? Shut up!
Oh yeah.
And know it's daytime because then they have birds chirping as the opposite of crickets.
Super loud fucking bird track.
That day for night thing. You got to play that track.
It's got horrible lighting. The lighting makes almost no sense in this movie. Like most of the time, whenever people do that shadow over the face thing, it's for a reason. This movie just does it just because we're inside, shadow over the face. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's just a shit movie. And I'm not even touching on the acting. The acting is god awful. Yes, my brother Johnny and I, once we hung out with our grandparents. Their names were Don and Lucille, and Johnny would run around the house, and I would smack Johnny, and Johnny would do this, and then I would do this. Johnny did this.
Well,
Jesus
Eddie,
Christ.
you're getting hysterical.
It's every 4 seconds, and it's not just Barbara that talks like that. When it goes to Judy and Steve or whatever the fuck that other kid's name was,
Tom.
they talk the
Tom,
same
yeah.
fucking way. It's like, oh my god, why?
I read
Why is it
though
so
that
bad?
somewhere like most of the dialogue was improv.
Oh, I'm sure it was,
You
but
know?
why are they referring to each other? Like, what's the kid's name? It's not Ben. Ben's the
Tom.
black guy.
Tom.
Tom.
Yeah.
Judy talks to Tom like this. Tom, we should go with Ben. Yes, Judy,
Not
I think
that
we
bad.
should. Yes, Tom, I believe we should. It's fucking, I swear to God. You
Not
guys,
that
you
bad.
guys always want to pull clips and make me look stupid. Pull fucking clips of Judy talking to Tom. Every single sentence, we have the person's name in it.
Tom, are you sure we're doing the right thing, Tom?
The best two actors in this movie, Ben and Mr. Cooper. Ben, I'm like, okay, Ben, I'm with you. The rest of the movie's letting you down, but I'm with you. You really want to roll in something bigger. And then Mr. Cooper, when he shows up, I'm like, oh, okay, somebody who at least somewhat knows what acting is.
So
everybody else, I'm like, God, fucking awful.
I do have to sort of agree with you. It is very like the way you describe it, but I think what might be contributing to it is the way that it's edited.
Yes.
Because it's one of those, they don't do any J or L cuts in it, right? It's all like straight. You cut, you see someone start their sentence, finish it, then it cuts, then we see the reaction, and then they start their sentence, and it's very much standard fare in that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think if they would have like done some more J or L cuts where you hear like the response before it cuts to the person, then it might have flowed a little bit better.
But that would require them to actually have some knowledge of audio. And they have no knowledge of audio because they do things like, bang.
Oh yeah, the sound effects
bang.
in this were pretty terrible.
And then I'm going to throw the hammer down.
There
hammer
was
noise. No
there
hammer
was
noise
one scene.
whatsoever.
Yeah, this room looks pretty secure.
There was one scene when he first started fighting the two zombies in the house, and he has the tire iron, and he's beat. It sounds like somebody's just off camera with a shoe, just hitting the shoe next to the mic.
So I think we can all agree that this film should not win any filmmaking awards whatsoever.
Not
It
really.
shouldn't. It's not. It's a gritty, thrown together, guerrilla filmmaking style movie.
It would win the Razzies though.
If made today, absolutely. I think what the whole reason this movie has survived and is a cult classic is because it was really the first horror film to show the gore on screen. Before in I forget the name of the movies now, like the Creature from the Black Lagoon and movies of that nature. You didn't see
things,
you didn't see the gore. You didn't see the monster actually killing the person.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see people being charred in a explosion and then a ghoul coming up and ripping their flesh off and eating it in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think audiences were really caught off guard by that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they were expecting it, and I think that's why the film became a cult classic and has survived through 50, 60 years now.
Yeah.
But see, I still stand on like, I don't disagree with you, John. I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I mean, same way with Kyle. Like, I agree. This movie is a cult classic. Does it make it a better movie just because it's considered a cult classic?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't land in my top 50, 60, 100 maybe films. I mean, I'll probably not watch it again unless we do a retrospective and we watch it again for the show.
Don't start throwing out ideas of ways
Right?
to punish me on
Yeah.
in Tuesday, John.
First
Like,
one, Gone with the
Jesus.
Wind, retrospective.
Well, when I actually watch these movies, I try to kind of place myself in that year as well. It's like, what have I actually seen from the 50s and like the 40s and even like the earlier 60s? None of this stuff was actually on film. They didn't show this kind of stuff. I mean, it did not get this real or, this extravagant with blood and everything until like one of these movies. It's one of those that it was kind of shocking for the time.
And see,
Absolutely.
but again, I'm not even disagreeing.
But
with
watching
you.
it today, yeah, it's a piece of crap.
No, but the thing is, I'm not even disagreeing with you like, okay, for instance, I can show you a movie right now where you watch simulated rapes that seem so real that it'll make your skin crawl.
What year was that?
2006 is the movie I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Hold on.
You could get away with a lot more
No.
today than you could way back when.
But hear me out. What I'm saying is that just because I can show you something that would make your skin crawl doesn't make that movie a good movie. I'm not saying that this movie shouldn't attain cult classics. It already has. Like I can't even argue that. And I'm not saying it wasn't one that didn't show the gore first. What I'm saying is it a good movie? And the thing is, I don't think that it is. I think that at the end of the day, but I mean, the jump cuts alone, there's enough jump cuts in this that I'm like, there were certain scenes I couldn't watch because it was so harsh as to the jump cut. One good example was when Ben was pulling the body off the stairs. The camera is dead onto him, and then all of a sudden he literally like leaps over the body somehow and is on the opposite side of the body as he starts to move it. And I'm like,
he climbed over it. I don't recall.
Yeah, that didn't bother me.
What bothered me with that scene was that he's on the porch and he sets him, he pours the lighter fluid or whatnot on him, and then when it cuts back to him on the porch, it cuts away and it comes back, he's off the porch now. We don't actually see Ben get him off the porch.
Well, we're talking about two different things.
Well, I know what you're talking about too, but I don't remember a jump cut because he places the rifle down. He walks like in between the stairwell or the rail and her, and then drags her away.
There's only one for sure jump cut that I remember seeing. I even stopped and rewound it just to make sure my eyes didn't screw up.
Let's go up.
Tom? If Judy would come downstairs for a few minutes, Harry and I could come upstairs.
And I was like, I must have seen this movie, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, 6 times now, something like that. I've never noticed it for some reason, but I did this watch.
Well, it's because you're critiquing it now. I mean, putting on this critical lens type of thing. I mean, it definitely changes your viewing of it. When I watched this before, the first time I saw it, especially, I wasn't offended by it. Watching it now, I'm like, it's so hard to watch. It's just
because it's your 50th time watching it.
It's not though. It's not 50th. I mean, it's 10 or so. But no, I mean, it's just hard for me to watch.
I just love that all these movies that you absolutely dreadfully hate.
Mm-hmm.
You have a high watch count on all of them
because people
like if I watch this for the first or second, even the third time, I'm like, you know what, this is god awful. The acting's horrible. Jump cuts everywhere. I can't even watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch it another 5 or 6 or 7 times. I'm like, why?
Because people asked me to watch it with them, and God, who am I to take it away from them? You know what I mean? Sure, let's watch fucking Night of the Living Dead from 1968, and I'll show you why this isn't a good movie. Let's watch it. Sure. And it's what typically happened. And back when in my early 20s, I had no life, Kyle. So I sat around just watching films with people and ripping them to fucking shreds. Kind of similar to what we're doing now.
Hey,
I just wish I'd put it on
Welcome
podcast.
to Screen Riot. Yeah.
There you go.
If I just done it in a podcast, I'd be a millionaire by now. But no. Anyway, I don't know. I just the acting, like I said, Ben, I actually like Ben's acting, and I think Ben
Me too.
really does his best to make the movie watchable. It's just everybody else lets it down.
This thing is just backing away from it. I looked back at the diner to see if there was anyone there who could help me. It was when I noticed that the entire place had been encircled.
I did laugh at one of his scenes where he was describing in full detail of what he had saw at the gas station and the truck exploding and there's zombies everywhere, and it's just this long drawn out story.
Yep.
And then And then what's her name?
Barbara.
Barbara starts telling her story after a weird thing of silence. And he's like, "You're getting hysterical. You shut up. You need to help me." And I'm like, she just stood there. She sat there listening to you, drawing on and on about how this gas truck exploded. You can hear the screams and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and she starts off with, her and her brother were out at the cemetery, and he's like, "You're getting hysterical."
And then domestic violence.
Yeah.
Wasn't her and her brother. It was Johnny. Don't forget Johnny. It was Johnny and Barbara. Johnny and Barbara walked through the woods. Johnny and Barbara went to the cemetery. Like,
wasn't Johnny her brother?
Yes, Johnny's her brother. I'm just giving you a hard time. She said Johnny.
Because she says Johnny over and over.
That's Johnny has the keys, and we need to find Johnny. We need to go help Johnny. Johnny has the keys to the car.
Johnny may have gone down.
Shut
there
up.
was a man. There was a man. He attacked Johnny. Johnny did this. Johnny did that.
Johnny, if you'd gotten up earlier, we wouldn't be late. Johnny asked me if I were afraid. And I said, "I'm not afraid, Johnny."
Yeah.
Johnny's going out on a Tuesday night. Johnny can't read. Johnny can't write.
Johnny be good.
See Johnny run.
Yes, it's so bad.
See Johnny get sort of knocked out by the grass.
He hit his head on the
headstone.
I know, but
stone, but yeah, I don't know.
That was
the headstone.
The slowest, most tame death in a horror film that I think I've seen.
Anyway,
and I'm dead. And scene.
Yes.
There was one other really annoying thing, and this one, Kyle, you'll probably explain it away, but if it was in another movie, you'd scream your head off about this. It was the TV report where they're filming the government guys coming out of the building.
Oh God!
And they're like, "It's radiation. Radiation. Is it radiation? No, it's not radiation. Did we decide that?" Well, meanwhile, if you just look in the background, there's like kids getting on a school bus. There's traffic going up and down these roads.
Life is normal.
Yeah, because this is guerrilla filmmaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm like,
Professor, you feel that there is a definite connection between
definite connection as far as Dr. Keller and myself.
Doctor, please. I thought we decided that is not proved yet. But,
was the satellite when the satellite was exploded?
An unusual amount of radiation, enough.
But it just killed me because I'm like, just cut that fucking scene. Like, you don't even need it. It's not even necessary.
And it's way too long.
It's way too long. Yeah,
I think all
the block.
I think all the news reporting scenes are way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it looked like I was watching a news clip of school closings, for like a snow day. Because I'm like, ooh, is my town going to be on there? Ooh, is my town
what it
gonna be
reminded me of? It was a presidential election night where they have run out of new material to talk about, so they have to keep repeating the same thing. You got to hit them in the brain. You got to do this. You got to do that. Blah, 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 and it's over and over and over, same thing.
The zombie apocalypse is on every channel.
Well, and so there's that with the news thing that's way too long, and then Ben nailing wood onto the windows. It's way too long. Like, we get it. He put wood. You're gonna make us watch each individual. Fuck me, piece of wood. Really, every piece of wood is going up on this one. Hurry up, Ben. Hurry up.
You got to make sure that it's structurally sound.
This house is full of wood.
I agree.
Just random boards. I'm going to pull this board off of this book. This bookshelf.
He did flip over
there's
that
more
table.
wood hidden behind the wood.
Yeah, I understand. Like the table, like he took apart that.
Yeah,
but
I get that. But he goes
underneath the cupboard and he finds like 8 or 9 like 1x6s. And I'm like,
not only that, Kyle. He actually those were hidden behind another piece of wood. That was nailed in place. He had to undo that to find the other wood. What in the world?
They knew about
was this a carpenter?
They knew about that wood price hike like a long time ago. They were hoarding wood about.
They got millions of dollars of wood in this farmhouse.
John, that didn't even occur to me. That wood was just randomly found in the house. But you got a point.
Oh, look, another nook. Here's some wood.
And it's a perfect
everywhere.
It's a perfect piece to actually board up windows with.
God.
To give it that nice.
And then random doors. Like here's a spare door. Let me put it on the door and block the door.
If Ben knew how to hammer a little faster, the shit at least would have gone up in a timelier manner. But yeah, I didn't even notice that it was just extra wood. You got a point.
Yeah, but you are right, Eddie. I do think the the wood nailing stuff goes on a little bit long, because they even do the summary shot of what he's accomplished. Right, there's that pan.
He stands there and he like looks at it.
Oh, well done. Well, that room's done. You did the whole house, man. What are you talking about? This one room.
Well, this house that they were actually filming in, it was actually slated to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where the wood came from.
Maybe, and it was actually pretty trashed. Like they did not have any furniture in there, or like everything was dirty. They had to come in and clean everything. They had to set everything up, like couches, TV, radio, dining room table, everything. But I'm assuming that they were probably already starting to take it down, like a shed or something like that, and they were just storing the wood in the inside.
Oh, great! There's more wood.
Yeah, what a great idea.
I don't know.
Wood from my wood scene.
I feel like if you cut the us watching, ad nauseum him nail up boards, and a lot of the same TV news station information over and over again, and that damn radioactive government
news
speech.
reports.
Yeah, good God.
That
If you cut
satellite
that
that
out,
fell from the sky had radiation.
But the problem is, if you start cutting all that, I don't know if they have a feature.
Right.
Because it's at what, an hour and 38 minutes?
Hour 36,
movie? Yeah. So I mean, if you cut out the
very short,
the nail, the board, the nailing of the boards and stuff, that's 5 minutes at least of just nailing boards.
Well, I did read that the movie was actually, the first cut was 10 minutes longer, but
Jesus,
one of the producers urged Romero to trim it down to hour 36. I mean, I could only imagine what that 10 minutes was. It was probably more wood nailing.
It was him looking for nails. He's like, how will they know he found the nails? Like, Jesus Christ.
So George A. Romero, right?
Yeah.
This was his first feature film.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, do you guys know what he was doing before Night of the Living Dead?
Barbershop Quartet.
He close,
Porn.
very close.
Oh.
He shot in Pittsburgh shorts for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Wow.
Nice. I could see that. Those puppets are creepy.
Yes.
Yeah. It gets
Yes,
you a little
they
twisted mind. He's like, I wonder what it would be if that was like decapitated.
What if King Friday were a ghoul?
Or he stood in the middle of the set and goes, there's a lot of wood in here. I could probably do something.
We should nail it to the windows.
I might need that for my future feature.
That tree in the middle of the make-believe world, that would make some good wood for my film.
Oh my God.
And like when he was grabbing the nails from the cupboard or whatever, why are you gonna spill the whole jar of nails and then find like 2 or 3? Like,
you got to find the long nails.
Just in a hurry, I guess.
Yeah. You got to find this. If they're not 16 penny nails, they're shit.
I think him and Cooper were doing their best to like make it seem like a crisis was actually happening.
Right.
Because everybody else in the movie is on like a Valium again. They're just hanging out, right?
Just sitting there.
Yeah, Judy has no response. Judy is like, I'm pretty sure she's stoned the entire movie, right? Barbara is catatonic on the couch, which makes sense, but she's catatonic.
Right.
Mrs. Cooper is still a mom, I guess. I don't know. She's like,
and
well,
she
Barbara,
speaks.
let's talk,
She speaks truth. She's over there critiquing Harry. She's like, you just want to be in charge, don't you?
Yeah.
But her other mannerisms makes me want to think she just wants to go in and make some apple pie for everybody and say, you know what? I'm Donna Reed. It's okay.
Yeah, she's
while
just
the world
it's
burns,
really
we'll just go ahead and eat.
We're just gonna eat some pie and cookies, and
so
I got a roast for later.
So Cooper and Ben are doing their best to have some urgency in this movie, and I think Ben, the way he was acting throughout most of the first 20 minutes, especially once he's on screen, first 20 minutes of him being on screen, I think it's him trying to be like, there's a fucking zombie invasion. I think it's him going for that, while everybody else is like, what? What's the TV say though?
What does the radio tell us to do?
I'm just hanging out with my buddy Steve or whatever the fucking kid's name was. What's the kid's name? Tommy. Yeah, Tom.
Like, I'm going with you, Tom.
I don't know. The acting is so bad.
I don't remember Ben shooting Mr. Cooper. I totally forgot that happened.
Oh yeah. It was a good moment.
I forgot that too. but his death scene was pretty anticlimactic. But
dude, you know what wasn't anticlimactic? The little girl zombie killing her mom with the trowel.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, could you?
That was do?
Oh,
okay. So Justin, that question right there is what's going to get me and Kyle into a fist fight. So,
well, then let's not do it.
Justin said, "Is that what zombies do?" No, Justin, it's not what zombies do. But in 1968,
depends on what you actually
here we go, Kyle.
consider what genre of zombies or what decade of zombies would you want to look at? You want to look at 60s zombies, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010.
But then again, I can kind of answer my own question because again, this is the one who defined the trope of zombie. So in this world, you could kill her with a trowel.
Well, and that thing too. You know, you can say the same thing with Dracula and sucking blood. They're you know, Dark Shadows isn't far off. Historically, in literature and in folklore, there were zombies that would feed off energy and off other things than blood.
Vampires?
Did I say dinosaurs? Vampires.
Vampires?
Yeah,
you
vampires.
Said zombies, not dinosaurs.
Sorry.
The hell are we talking about, John?
I don't know anymore.
Vampires.
I don't
what is
know
it,
anymore.
Judy?
No.
What was that? What are we doing? Let's go hang out with Tom. John, let's go. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so yes, the movie is about ghouls and /zombies, but no. Similarly to what you're saying is that Dracula, you know, sucked blood. He had to have blood in order to survive. Well, in the folklore of quote unquote vampires, there are multiple types of vampires.
Yeah,
there's not. We've just settled as a society. We have just settled on this one blood sucking vampire as our vampire. And I think it's the same way with these ghouls /zombies. Is that they've slowly evolved because I don't like the ones. What is it? World War Z.
Yeah,
they're really fast. The real fast ones. Zombies aren't fast, in my opinion. I didn't enjoy the film.
Their flesh is dead. It's like
exactly they fly off. They're going 50 miles an hour. It's just gonna you're just gonna be bones.
Superhuman features.
So here's the
thing, and here's the question: is a mummy a zombie?
Yes.
If it comes back, yes.
Yeah. So
here's a mummy.
Here's my thing.
It's a mummy, exactly.
In this movie, they describe them as coming back to life, right? Yeah. So we have that. That's definitive thing. So apparently you can come back to life enough that you know how to do things like open up car door handles. And if the car door on this side's locked, well, fuck it. I'm going to go around the other side because that door might be unlocked.
I was thinking the same thing.
Let me grab a brick then. And I'm going to smash out the window with the brick. These are some smart fucking zombies. Like they have lost nothing except a little bit of speed. They're a little slower. Oh, and they can also take on bullets. I mean, they're basically Batman. They're the Batman of superheroes, is what's happening. Because if you think about it, Batman's not as fast as Superman, right? He doesn't have the superhuman strength. He doesn't have all those things, but he's a smart fucker who will figure out how to get you one way or the other.
But if you're actually bringing in the science of all this,
sure,
it was actually true throughout the whole series or throughout the whole movie.
What is?
Because the first zombie that we saw picked up a brick, right?
Yep.
Second zombie picked up a bat or something like that to smash out the lights.
Yes.
Third one was
zombie
like
pick up a chair
leg or something. Yeah, a table leg. I mean, so they all knew how to do that.
No, I'm not disagreeing that in the movie that it's not that way. It's just strange that it's weird how we got to
the 2000 zombies are different.
Not 2000 zombies, even 1970 zombies are different.
Sorry, 70s zombies are different.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years later, they already decided that picking up shit was dumb because they were dead.
Probably.
Well, I think it makes them more. I think each writer and director had to differentiate themselves from Romero's Night of the Living Dead, and if they're going to make a ghoul or a zombie film, they're going to have to. What can I do differently? And it just naturally morphed into like look at Bela Lugosi's Dracula versus Dracula now.
Yeah, well,
completely different.
Is there a Dracula now?
Leslie Nielsen's Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Well,
Eddie Murphy's Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
No,
Interview with a Vampire.
I was actually going to go for Hotel Transylvania.
That's the. I don't say blah blah blah. Yes. Jesus Christ.
You know, I actually started to questioning myself because I thought of The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price back in 1964.
Yep.
They had somewhat of undead people, but they were actually labeled as vampires. Like a plague went through and made all these people vampires, and they had, the actual, they hate garlic, they can't be invited in unless you invite them or something like that, or they can't come into your house unless they're invited in.
Okay.
Killed with wooden stakes, all that kind of crap. Because I was like, oh man, there is, a couple scenes, but these guys actually talk too, so they're vampires, I guess, in Last Man on Earth.
Yeah,
but
that would make sense. I don't know. It's just this movie, like I said, I can't take away from it that it was the beginning of a whole genre. I mean, Jesus Christ, it spawned like what, 50, 60 other movies,
tons of franchises.
Yeah, franchises, whole TV shows that last 12 seasons and stuff. So I mean, I'm not hating on it from that perspective, but just looking at it as a film,
you got to start somewhere.
I agree.
Yeah.
The bottom is where many people start. The score will be perfect for that.
That's exactly it.
You don't have to be first. You don't have to be first. You just have to be the best.
Right.
Well, my dad said, if you ain't first, you're last. Go ahead. Sorry.
Ricky Bobby.
I hate that movie. I hated that movie so much.
You should pick it for sports film.
No fucking way. I hated that movie so much. Will Ferrell is one of the worst actors of our generation. Ugh. Anyway.
But I actually did like the blood in this movie. I mean, it's very simple. It's chocolate syrup, and they can get away with it just because it's black and white.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of the movie companies didn't want to actually send it out to theaters. They didn't want to have distribution rights to it because it was black and white. And they're like, you got to get with the times, man. It's 1968. We're shooting in color. And we're like, we don't have the budget for that, though.
Yeah, I was about to say it was all a budgetary decision, and this is why I shot it black and white.
Black and white was cheaper, but it was probably very expensive changing it to 16 mil to edit it. Right?
Yeah. Did we mention that on the show? Or
I don't think so. No, it was pre-show.
Yeah, so I was just reading, just for the audience here, that because of the budget, they shot on 35mm film, but the editing equipment that they had, the Moviola, only the one that they had, only did 16mm. So they had to do a transfer from 35 to 16 just to edit, and then do a reverse transfer to get it back to 35mm.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of budget, they actually made it for $114,000 back then, which is equivalent to about $847 million today, roughly.
47,000, right?
847,000, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Did I say million?
I was like,
I was like, wait, okay.
Ooh, Avatar?
Inflation's a bitch, but wait, hold on. Like, what was
in today's
number?
money, it was made for 847,000. Right.
See, now here's an interesting exercise. Let's see what other movies have been made for about 850 grand and see whether or not they stack up against
what in today's movie and today's time.
Yeah, because I'll bet you I can find a few that are
sub $1 million.
Yeah, sub.
You gotta be within the same
decade.
You can't take 847,000 of today's money and today's technology either.
Yeah, because like the producers of like Iron Sky, it's made by like 3 people, and they're all CG artists, and so they made it for very, very cheap. But
yeah,
the CGI is there.
They actually made about $30 million back then, and it was actually equivalent to 222 million today.
Wow,
it's a success, I would say.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's actually that's not like accumulative from 1968 to 2020. That's within the first few years.
So what you're proving with that is that sick fuckers exist beyond the 2000s and went all the way back to 1968. Because let's be honest, I mean, why else would you go see this unless you wanted to be disgusted? This is literally
it was something. It's something that it's actually something that is different, and people are used to just kind of blah horror movies, and they say, "Oh, wait, you got to actually see somebody get stabbed with a what is it, the shovel or whatever?"
Yeah, it's the
and
macabre.
You get to see blood or whatever.
Yeah, it's the
That's
macabre.
so cool.
But again, that's bringing in people who want weirdness. You know what I mean?
Well, it's no different. It's no different than Barnum and Bailey's sideshows. You know, there's like you would
with
go
the knives
to
throwing at people and stuff.
Well, and the Dog Boy and Wolfman and all that kind of stuff.
No relation.
Yeah. Right. The Fiji mermaids, and stuff like that. I mean, people are interested in that stuff. They want to go see it. They might not admit to their neighbor that they want to go see it, but they want to go see it.
Mm.
Yeah, and at the very end of the movie, when Ben is like, "Oh, okay, who are these people outside? Are these still zombies?" Pointing the gun at him, and then the cop or the sheriff's like, "Yeah, shoot that son of a bitch there in the window. Make sure it's a headshot." And then it's like end scene. Like, well, damn, that sucks. Last man surviving, and he gets shot.
Yeah, it's not a happy ending.
No, it is not.
Nobody wins the farmhouse survival challenge.
Yeah,
just the rednecks that have pistols and shotguns and everything, hunting rifles.
Yeah,
they win the day.
Well, let's see who out of us wins the day. I'm gonna start trying to do some weird segues every episode, just to piss Eddie off.
No, that was definitely one of them. That was a very. I'm like, yep, nothing. Nope, skunked again.
Yeah. So we need to see what we're gonna score this. So Kyle, this was your movie. You get to
go. Okay. I think I'm gonna actually score this. Probably, maybe a 6.5. Mainly because this actually did, like, towards the end when all the zombies started to come into the house, it was pretty scary, especially when the girl started stabbing the woman with a shovel. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty climactic. And they did a really good job with the jump scares, with the music and timing that and everything. Now in most horror movies, you have the music and the jump scares, and it's usually nothing. And they did that in this film too. They did a jump scare with the deer heads on the walls and everything.
Trophies mounted on the wall.
Yeah. I forgot though, the music in this wasn't actually made for this film. It was a copyright free music that was actually made for something else. It's like the teenagers and the Martians or something. Yeah, I read that somewhere. It was so crazy to me. And I'm like, well, that kind of made sense that the music didn't really seem to fit, because there were parts where it would just die and it would just be complete silence, and then it would ramp back up again. And I don't know if that was just due to the editing, or they were like running out of this type of song, and so they're just like, oh, we need to cut this really quick and bring it down. But
they just had a record player with the damn soundtrack on it just playing in the background, and whatever the hell came on is what came on.
Somebody's moving the volume meter. Yeah, up, down.
But they probably had two. The other record player was just cricket sounds that they had going the whole time.
Good call. Forgot about.
But yeah, it's going to be a 6.5 for me.
6.5 for Kyle. Okay, John.
Okay, so the filmmaking piece, no. It wouldn't get a good score if I scored solely on that. The actual content piece, yeah, and longevity piece, and not necessarily rewatchability, because I'll never. Well, this is my first time seeing it fully. I'll never watch it again. Barring Eddie's torture, our decade of shows, this is definitely one I want to pick just to torture him. But
but I die before 10 years on Screen Riot. We're good.
So I like that aspect of it. I think putting the two together, my score is going to have to be a 5, because I don't hate it, but I don't love it, and I think the impact that it's had on our culture, on the genre, and just not necessarily filmmaking in general, but writing in general for horror. I think it deserves a couple of points up. So a 5 for me.
Okay. 5 for John. Yeah, there was a few things I liked in this, stuff I didn't like. I'm kind of with John. Like, you have to kind of throw props because of how creative it was for the time. But I'm just gonna. The crickets were very, very annoying to me. I can't overstate that enough. But I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna go 5.5 actually.
Before we go to Eddie's slaughter of a score,
Yeah.
I found it. It was the music that was used in the film was public domain from Capitol Records, and it was originally used for Teenagers from Outer Space, 1959. It cost the filmmakers $1,500.
Jeez.
To use that music.
Wow.
But anyway, go ahead, Eddie. You're up.
So again, I want to state that I don't disagree with you guys that it's a cult classic and all that kind of stuff. But just because it's reached that status does not mean that it's a good movie. The acting's horrible. The music is shit. It doesn't match. That's the biggest problem I have with it is it just doesn't match. So there's whole scenes where I'm like, am I supposed to be sad or frightened right now? Like, what's this music pushing us towards?
Right.
Which now saying that it's from something else, that makes sense. The crickets are the most fucking aggravating thing ever. And the fact that they were like people's volume was at like a 4 and the crickets were at a 12, that was the most annoying shit that they could possibly do.
Inside
I'm more
the house.
pissed about the fucking crickets than I am the rest of the movie combined.
At least it wasn't cicadas.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Cicadas are worse.
Rattle sound the whole
That's
time.
true. You wouldn't be able to hear anything.
God.
Yeah, it'd be deafening.
The acting's just atrocious. There's very little redeeming value to the acting. The overall idea, sure. I mean, it's 1968. There probably wasn't a whole lot going on that made people want to see people eat people. So, I don't know. Again, I'm looking at it just as a film for the most part, though. I'm ignoring the cult part because any movie could be a cult movie. It doesn't necessarily make it a good film. So for me, rewatchability on this is fucking low. I hate watching it, and yet we've watched it again multiple times. I would say, oh god, I'm gonna go because it's a cult classic, and I know I said we're gonna score on that, but I don't want to completely slam it too hard on that. I'm gonna go 0.8.
Okay.
0.8 for Eddie.
Yeah.
So that means Night of the Living Dead gets a 4.5.
Which is pretty low.
Yeah.
Pretty decent actually for being what it is.
When you compare, see, there's an issue I have with not to make the show even longer, but there's an issue I have with critics.
Yeah.
And not us because we call it like we see it. But with other critics, like some will be okay. This is a cult classic, so I have to give it this. Like they feel obligated to give it an amazing score. Mm-hmm. And then your audience scores, they're like, oh, well, this is a cult classic, so I have to give this. Everybody I said, oh, yeah, in film school they love it and all this stuff, so I have to give it a good score. Mm-hmm. I just want to tell our audience that it's okay not to like a cult classic. It's okay not to like a film that everybody else likes. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to like a film that everybody else hates. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people hate the movie Vanilla Sky. I don't think it's that bad.
I'm actually kind of with you. I don't mind it either.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but there's other friends of mine who absolutely hate the film and they'll never watch it ever again.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my problem with I think 86% and 96% or 98% on Rotten Tomatoes is because it's skewed because it's a classic, not necessarily because it's a good film.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I agree with that. I mean, I think it's kind of like saying you don't like the 1957 Corvette. Like, how could you not? It's the most beautiful fucking, 50s car made.
But it's so slow. It's
I just don't. Exactly. I just don't like it. It's slow. It's kind of a dog, etc. Valid point. You know what I mean? Like,
but it was fast back then.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
I didn't turn for shit. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's fine. But Eddie, you're the last one on the wheel this week.
I am.
So we need to figure out what genre that you're going to be spinning for. Are you ready to spin it, John?
I am ready. Here we go.
Spin me a tail. Let's see. Wild card. Come on. Nope. Sports film. Okay.
It's going to be
Did I call that or what?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
So I guess as far as the sports film, I will choose Breaking Away from 1979, a movie about a working-class Indiana teen obsessed with the Italian cycling team who vies for the affections of a college girl while searching for life goals with his friends. And it's starring Dennis Quaid, Jackie Earle Haley, Daniel Stern, And then the main character, who I don't know what the hell else he's ever been in, but you know, it is what it is.
Was it Dennis Christopher?
Yeah. What's he been in besides this?
So he's known for Django, It, Fade to Black.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta look up that guy. But yeah, that's the movie.
Oh, he was in Deadwood. Interesting.
So Breaking Away, 1979.
1979. Cool. Okay. So if you want to follow along at home, we'll be doing Breaking Away next Saturday. If you want to find out all the places that it's streaming, just go to justwatch.com. You can type it in, search it in there, and see all the places it's streaming. Also, don't forget to go to our website, screenriot.net. We have a lot of cool stuff up there, all of our merch on there. Please hit the like button below. That really helps us out. And we'll see you back here next Saturday.
See ya.
See you
later.